Okay, howdy everybody. Hope you're having a good evening and welcome to my little corner home studio. If you even want to call it that, it's more like me just sitting in the corner of my house with a microphone. My name is Clancy, and you can consider this a bit of a pilot episode of this podcast and of this format in general. I intend to talk about various horror movies and possibly non-horror movies and horror books, as well as other media, such as maybe even short stories, but, and this is where it ties into today's episode, today we're going to be talking about the short film BlinkyTM, written and directed by Ruari Robinson. I hope I got that right. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Be right back after this from Raid Shadow Legends. Listening to horror stories is great, but every few years or so, you might get the urge to do something else. And if that something else is a craving for a dark fantasy RPG, Raid Shadow Legends is a must-play. It just came out recently and is already one of the highest rated games of its kind. I'll go ahead and show you around a bit. So if you head on over to the index, you can check out all of the champions you currently have. The dude I like the most right now is this guy. You see him around a lot, Gallic. I think the orcs look cool. If you head on over to the portal, you can open up these mystery shards, which are really, really cool if you love opening stuff and getting new characters, little bonus items. Over at the tavern, you can actually level up characters you like by sacrificing other characters. I'll demonstrate real quick. So I'll put my Gallic up there, and yeah, let's just go ahead and sacrifice that person right there. Level my dude up a bit. The campaign is a great place to level up your character and enjoy a fully voiced story. Now, I don't play mobile games much, but after downloading it, I found myself getting lost in the game for about an hour. I love how fun and simple the gameplay is, mixed with the dark fantasy and truly breathtaking artwork. But even if you don't play on your phone, you can now play Raid both on mobile and on your desktop. The game is actually cross-device compatible as well, so you can play with players both on the PC and on the phone at the same time. And it looks great and performs even better. You can check me out in the game under the nickname Clancy Pasta, and if you're one of the first to add me, you can also join my clan. So what are you waiting for? Go to the video description, click on the special links, and you will get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. Alright, now back to the video. Okay, now we're back from the sponsor. I really did enjoy that game, by the way, Raid Shadow Legends. I know it's become a bit of a meme lately, but I enjoyed it. I don't play mobile games much, but it was fun.
You need Blinky,
Hey, my name's Blinky.
the home help robot with a mind of its own.
So, BlinkyTM, it came out in 2011. It's a 12-minute long, little over 12-minute long short film that was released on YouTube. And I should say real quick before we go any further that there will be a ton of spoilers in this video. But the link to the short is in the description, and it is short. Here's the short summary on IMDb. A young boy living in the near future looks for an escape from a home with arguing parents. As a way to cope with the recent arguments from his parents, he receives a robot companion that he ends up abusing. I like that. I like that description. It's pretty accurate. So, going over the plot real quick. This is essentially the story of Alex Neville, played by Max Records, although you never really learn his last name, I don't think. Maybe it's said right in there for a millisecond, Neville. But the actor is Max Records, who I would guess is about 11-ish years old, maybe 10, 11, something like that. You know, whenever you have kid actors in something, it's a bit risky. It's a bit of a cliche at this point, really, that kid actors are bad news for films and that, you know, it can go wrong in a million different ways. But Max is pretty good. There are times in this when he needs to get emotional to pull off the scene, and he does a pretty good job. You know, some people can nitpick and be like, yeah, this kid did it better, huh? See this kid? Look at that kid in this movie that was paid, you know, it's $1 million. But, you know, I mean, for what this is just some short film, you know, he's did pretty all right. The other actors, which are really just the parents in this situation, you know, okay, they do some fighting. Then there's the dog. The dog was spectacular. My God, beautiful performance by the dog. The dog didn't do anything crazy, but he was okay. But so it's about this kid, Alex, who at the beginning of the short film is watching TV and an advertisement for Blinky comes on. And so he runs to his parents who are in the middle of a fight, but they stop the fight and they look at him, and he's like,
I know what I want for Christmas.
so Christmas rolls around, he gets Blinky, and it shows a montage of him playing with Blinky. They're throwing fetch, it's like they're chasing each other around. And by the way, about this short film, it is so well shot and edited. I have a very hard time staying focused, and I get bored a little too easily while watching films sometimes. You cannot get me to play an RPG. My God, my brain will fucking go into overdrive and spin out on the freeway. So this movie is edited perfectly for me. It's short, it's 12 minutes, there's so much going on, and I can pretty much promise you, if there's one thing I can promise you if you want to check out this short film, link will be in the description, by the way, if you want to check it out, you will not be bored. That is an impossibility. I can pretty much promise you that. But as the montage with the kid playing with the robot fades out, he runs off while he's playing hide and seek, and he sees his parents arguing, and he hears them arguing. The first few times I watched the short, I didn't hear it very well, but on the last viewing, right before I recorded this, I listened a little bit closer to the dialogue, and it seemed like the parents were arguing about the father's career. You know, the father was saying something like, you know, about what would have happened. He was screaming about what would have happened if he walked out of that meeting. And, you know, the wife was, you know, upset, most likely, I would imagine, because he wasn't, you know, being there and whatever situation she needed from him. But, you know, it's just a very relatable situation that I didn't realize they actually slipped in dialogue that made pseudo sense there. You know, they could have been much lazier in that department, so props to them. But the kid sees this and is obviously affected by it. And, you know, the kid starts to get angry and angsty, and the kid's lonely. And to talk about Blinky now, at the very beginning, right when the kid is watching TV, when he first discovers Blinky, the ad pretty much shows him off as a humanoid AI robot thing that is fully conscious. It is its own person, essentially, and it can clean up around the house. They essentially market it as a slave, which is weird. You know, it's weird. It's because that seems almost. It seems very science fiction like, but it's also getting very close to science fact. I've read you know, some articles and heard interviews with AI researchers who believe that we're going to reach, I mean, not just general AI on the level of Blinky, which would be essentially, you know, kind of like person that'll help out around the house and play with you and, you know, do whatever you need it to do, but general AI that could be on the level of, you know, super AI. They think that we could reach that within, you know, 50 to 100 years. I've heard some AI researchers say, I'm sure there's also differing opinions. That's not very important right now. What is important is that Blinky is an intelligent being, but he's been programmed to have to do essentially whatever is requested of him. But, you know, Blinky can only keep Alex so content for so long with his parents. You know, in the home life he's dealing with being the way it is. So he starts to get more and more angry and really just mean to Blinky. And it culminates in him telling Blinky to go outside to play hide and seek and to count down, instead of counting down from 30 and then going and try to find the kid, or counting down from 100 and trying to find the kid. Instead, the kid apparently tells him to start counting down from 1,000,000. So we see Blinky being like 999,998, 999,997, 999, you know, so on and so forth. And by the way, I gotta say this too. He sounds like Jar Jar Binks, but a less annoying version of Jar Jar Binks. So that's a plus. But anyway, so Blinky's outside counting down from 1,000,000. Which, you know, could take a little bit, and the kid's parents are still inside fighting, and the kid is just seething with angst and resentment and sadness. This is what I'm reading. This is what the viewer is understanding, and rage. And so he goes out and just starts abusing Blinky. He He says, stop counting, makes a mess with paint on the ground, says, clean up this mess, and then Blinky, starts to do everything the kid tells him to do, but the kid just keeps telling him to do opposite stuff. Clean up this mess, don't move. Why'd you move? I said clean it up. No, don't clean it up, I said don't move. Shit like that, just annoying stuff.
Clean this.
No problem. I like to clean things.
Why do you move? I told you not to move.
And while the kid is in the throes of verbally abusing this thing, he makes some pretty big mistakes. He gets a little angry. He says stuff like, I could tell you to kill everybody, and you would have to. Why don't you just kill me? Why don't you kill my parents? Why don't you kill my dog? Stuff like that.
I can tell you to kill everybody, and you just stand there blinking like an idiot.
No problem.
What does it matter? Go on, kill my parents, kill me, kill the dog, kill everybody.
And then the robot Blinky short circuits. So he restarts it, and that night the kid is in bed. And Blinky shows up in his room. The kid wakes up and is like, oh, what the hell are you doing in here? He doesn't say that exactly. Paraphrasing. And Blinky is like, did I do good? And the kid is like, what the hell are you talking about? Get out of my room. And you see footage leading up on a path towards the doghouse while the kid is talking to his mom. And the mom is like, oh, Blinky, why would Blinky do anything to the dog? I'm sure the dog just ran away. And then Alex, has another fucking scene with Blinky where he gets mad at Blinky. And Blinky goes to the kitchen to clean up a mess. And as he's opening a drawer, he begins counting down again. It's almost like ever since he was told to count down from 1,000,000, he never actually stopped. He kept counting down in his head, Blinky, the whole time. So he goes to the kitchen and he's like,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you know? Here I come.
and he takes out this fucking saw blade. So, next scene, and this really, I love this scene. This is the pinnacle, and I know spoilers are just riddled throughout this whole thing, but that's fine. It's a short film. It'll take you 2 seconds to watch it. The scene shows Blinky and the parents at a table. The parents on each side of the table, Blinky in the middle, and they're eating some spaghetti and meatballs. Beautiful meal. And the camera's slowly panning in, and the wife is like, man, where's Alex? And Blinky's like, he's right here. And the parents are like, what do you mean, Blinky? Shut up, Blinky, you stupid fucking robot, Jesus Christ. And Blinky's like,
I cleaned him and cooked him for dinner. You're eating him. Did I do good?
no, he's right here. I cleaned him and cooked him. Did I do good? And the parents start getting sick, and the cops are apparently called. And it basically ends. It basically ends right there. It basically ends with Blinky having been purchased to be the family friend and robot, being turned into a murderous, serial killing, psychopathic AI robot. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I gotta say, I don't know what I would rate it. I'm not sure I would actually be good at a rating scale, but I would say watch it. Watch the fuck out of it. You need to. Now, some things that I want to talk about as far as the quality of this short and how it was done, how it was pulled off. It was so well done. It's crazy. And writing, directing, editing wise, it is just a little masterpiece. Even with short stories that are short, I have a hard time watching them because, like I've said, I have a very my brain is kind of all over the place and I get distracted very easily. But there's just so much intriguing, good writing and good cinematography, and decent acting and special effects. I mean, well, not just decent special effects. I should get to that in a second. But there's so much foreshadowing in this film. It's really incredible. I mean, that's something that if you didn't pick up on going in, watch it through again with an eye out for foreshadowing, and you're just going to get slapped in the face with it constantly. It's perfect. It's perfect. Now, to talk about the special effects real quick, because I do want to get that out of the way. It is so good. So good. I mean, it seems to me that they used a mix of practical, probably for some shots, and CGI. And it's not overbearing. It's not, overly tacky or fake looking. It's pretty on the money. It's pretty good. So to move on a little bit, I wanted to talk about maybe some of the meanings that could be extracted from this short, because I definitely get the feeling there's some kind of a statement here, and one which is one people probably would like to go to pretty quickly is perhaps this is a statement on parents raising their kids solely on technology. The family structure breaking down to whatever degree, which this isn't anything new. Parents have been, having shitty relationships and lives forever, but now we have technology, and so that's interjected into it all. So I think that's possible, but one thing that seems to me to be a much more intriguing and interesting ethical problem and thought is the one of AI ethics. Because it really does, bring up this idea of, let's say you could just buy something that is its own being. It has its own experience. To use the thought experiment, is it like anything to be a bat? Well, if it is, then it's conscious, just like me and you. And in this scenario, Blinky, what is it like to be Blinky? Well, we know something, because it says straight out in the short that it is, alive in that sense. So I think you could easily, take away that this is a statement on kind of like, hey, we're going to be making things that are literally alive, and they should not be treated as slaves. And we need to make sure that they're not treated as slaves. And perhaps if they are, something horrible like this could happen at some point. That is just my late night ramblings on that topic. But I wanted to also think about, because it was such a fun short. Once again, I'm having a blast just talking about it and thinking about it. But I'd love to think about and talk about what happens after the end of the short, because it begins, the kid buys the robot, it ends, the robot has murdered the family, the kid and the family. And so after that, because, okay, here's the thing. Once the robot starts killing, we don't see it stop. And at the end, the last people we see it kill are two cops, as a matter of fact. So what I'm wondering is, when does it end? Did Blinky go on to massacre an entire police squad? Did he go house to house, taking people out like Michael Myers in the 2018 remake of Halloween? Yeah, I don't know, but it's fun to think about that stuff. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go to the description, check out the sponsored links, as that is how we pay our bills, of course, and then head on over and check out BlinkyTM in the description. Also, there will be a link in the description to my second channel, Clancy's Dead. Like I said at the beginning, my girlfriend originally showed me BlinkyTM, and she has a long history with it and has her own thoughts on it that are really interesting. And honestly, some of my thoughts that I've given here have probably been influenced by her, because we've already discussed this and talked about it a bit. Me and her are going to talk about it on our own together and upload another little podcast thing. So head on over there, and if you'd be interested in hearing us talk about it together and hearing me expand on it more, I'll probably get more into the weeds over there. I'll probably get even more out there and openly and lazily talking about stuff. Maybe lazy isn't the right word, but just relaxed, talking in a relaxed way. And so yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this bit of a different type of video. at the end of 2019, which I really can't believe it's 2020 already. It's really crazy. It's really insane. 2019 was such a strange year for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you. So let's hope 2020 is better and less strange. But at the end of 2019, I put out a post asking you guys what you'd like to see coming up on the channel. And a lot of you encouraged me to branch out and to do other things. And, I can promise you that the horror story narrations will never go anywhere. And I promise you, I will never turn my channel into a comedy, sketch, gaming, TikTok compilation channel. None of that's ever going to happen. But what I will start doing, and what I would like to do, and I'm excited to do, is to branch out, expand, and start recording some stuff and putting out content that would complement the horror stories that you guys have been getting and enjoying for so long. And I hope you enjoy this new content as well. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of, I don't even know what this is going to be called. I think in the beginning I called it my corner studio, but that's more literal than anything else. But who knows? I might just call it that. I don't know. Whatever I end up calling it, I hope you all enjoy this, and have a great night.